Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Workers' Playtime! Yes, a very good afternoon to you from me, Ray Moore, and welcome to the Conservative Party Conference. Our final Workers' Playtime comes to you live today from a huge barn of a scout hut here in West London. It is, in fact, the distribution warehouse of an enormous record factory in Hayes in Middlesex, and this vast concrete bunker, beautifully decorated, wall-to-wall carpets, Draylon everywhere, and the crystal chandeliers. And the walls around me stacked with boxes and boxes of records. This, in fact, is the only place in the whole world where you'll find Cliff Richard lying next to Sheena Easton. And of course, it was 20 years ago this week the very first Beatles single was released, and all of their singles have been pressed in this very factory. And we're actually doing the show on a rostrum barely 1 foot high, so if the audience turn ugly, and they're not a pretty sight to begin with, could put an end to all our glittering careers. Oh, I could send for the foreman, couldn't I? Jim Ashley. Oh, he's been declared repugnant, I see. Now, Workers' Playtime first saw the light of day in 1940, and it was one of the main reasons that Hitler decided not to invade Britain. The series fell under the axe amid mounting waves of apathy and indifference in September 1967. Wonderful idea to revive Workers' Playtime now. There's so few of them left. Anyway, we're going to start with a number actually written in 1937, but it was one that was featured many times in the early days of Workers' Playtime during the dark days of the war. And in case you missed the result, England came first, Germany second. Here to play the tune, our first guests on the bill today, we're proud to welcome the smallest symphony orchestra in the whole world, the Ronnie Price Trio. Yes, the ladies of Tramp from the Ronnie Price Trio. Now I'd like to introduce you to one of the funniest men in the whole world. Unfortunately, Bob Hope refused flatly to come. So instead, we're going to meet a man who's an old friend of Workers' Playtime, a member of the Mothers' Union militant tendency. He's a leader of the paramilitary wing of the Morecambe Liberation Front, and he's a well-known wheel tapper and shunter as well. Welcome, Colin Compton.
Give order, thank you, please. If I don't get order, I'll wake Jim Ashley up. Now, we've had a meeting of the committee, and we passed a resolution that Millie will go for cookery lessons. That's Millie in the kitchen, that. I've just met her. When she makes soup, the pygmies come from Africa to dip the darts in it. Now, I better tell the listeners, it's only fair, I better tell the listeners, I've taken my cap off now, and these ladies can see me in all my suave and sophistication and And I heard somebody say that. It's not a wig, this. Honest. I heard somebody say that. It's not a wig. I always comb my hair forward because it's going thin at the front and it hides it when you comb it forward. I'm not bothered because they tell me that baldness is the sign of a passionate nature. Looking for a bald-headed woman now. In Hayes. Higher Southall. Near Southall, isn't it? And I always thought the Black Country was in the Midlands. Yes, we really are live. We're live, aren't we? I can say anything I want, you see, and they can't stop me. I can use 5-letter words that will horrify listeners, like Jimmy and Young and Terry and Wogan. I'll tell you what, I'll give you all the chance to broadcast your name on the radio, because we can do that, they can't stop us, you see. I'll count up to 3 like they do in pantomimes. I'll count up to 3 and all shout your name out. Will you do that? Can you remember it? And you can all broadcast live now on Radio 2. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. They are. All those 6 or 7 people who are listening have heard that. And I want to tell everybody who's listening that my name's Colin Crompton, because if anybody's just switched on, they might think, because I've never stopped talking, they might think I'm Gloria Hunniford. And no, I'm not allowed to advertise which factory it is, obviously, which record company it is. So all I can do is tell the listeners that the initials stand for Every Manager's Idol. You see, you've guessed. Decca. Oh, I can advertise. I can advertise my local pub, the Birch and Bottle. It is the Birch and Bottle, my local pub. Fella came in drunk the other lunchtime. He says, "Was I in here last night?" The barmaid said, "Yes, you were." He says, "Was I drunk?" She said, "You were very drunk." He said, "Did you spend much money?" She said, "About 20 quid." He said, "Thank God, I thought I lost it." He's a pal of mine, Tommy is called. He drinks a lot. He went home sober once and the dog bit him. It was a funny night, that. It wasn't till he went home sober that his wife knew he drank. Could happen. He came out of the pub drunk one night. There were 2 nuns walking towards him and one went either side of him. He says, "How the hell did she do that?" He's a good lad. He's been married 22 years this year, November. 22 years married, and they've got 14 kids. His wife's never heard of Horlicks. 14 of them. They don't have a babysitter, they have a shepherd. Takes them all to the park on Sundays and the ducks feed them. Sling little worms up. He's got one little girl, Debbie she's called, and she's 4. She thinks the world of her dad, because kids do when they're 4, don't they? They don't know him. He bought her a little puppy dog for a birthday present and he house-trained it himself. Every day for about 3 months he was at it, doing his Barbara Woodhouse bit. On the paper! On the paper! Eventually he trained it and he had to start all over again. Not while I'm reading it! Don't laugh like that, somebody else has to sit there after you. They're lovely kids. We've got a school teacher lives near us. He tells us daft things that happen in class. Like, "It's geography today. Johnny, where's Africa?" "It can't be far. He goes home every day for his dinner." "Where's Hadrian's Wall?" "Round his house." "What do you know about Damascus?" "It kills all known household germs." I'm married. I've been married 15 years, me. I worked it out. If I'd have strangled my wife 15 years ago, I'd have been coming out on Tuesday. You've got to get married, haven't you? You can't go through life being happy. I've not brought her with me. I never pack things I don't need. This fella of mine who's married, he's got a big house now. I beg your pardon. Oh. The fella here giving me a funny sign. Oh, I've got 2 minutes. They moved him into one of these big high-rise blocks of flats. 40th floor they were. And they went in, sent the kids out on the balcony to look down at the aeroplanes. And he said to his wife, he said, it's our first real home, this. I hope you're going to look after it and keep it nice like it is now. She says, I will, I'm house proud. She went out Tuesday, didn't come back while Friday. He says, where have you been? She said, I've been doing the steps. I'll sing at you. Thank you, Maestro. Oh, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you.
There's the great Colin Compton, on his way back now to take the clothes back to the Oxfam shop. Over the 27 years of Workers' Playtime and the old light programme of the BBC, many famous singers made some of their very first broadcasts. People like Frankie Vaughan, Ronnie Hilton, Harry Seacombe, John Hanson and Frank Sinatra, who of course in the old days used to appear under the name of Matt Monro. We're about to meet now 3 beautiful singers who weren't even born when Workers' Playtime first went on the air. And in fact, they were hardly toddlers when it finished. So they don't really know what the programme is all about, which is probably why they agreed to appear. Or maybe they did it for a bet. Anyway, they're going to sing a couple of numbers from the early days of Workers' Playtime. Welcome, Sweet Substitute.
What's the matter with you, Angie?
I've got problems with my pedal extremities. No meat on my bones, not a pound of fat.
You got your chip.
Looks in the mirror, what a real hot cat.
Meow.
I've been to the dentist, how my molars glisten. Gee whiz, but my man won't listen. Say your feet's too big. I don't want you 'cause your feet's too big. Mad at you 'cause your feet's too big. Hate you 'cause your feet's too big. What's your problem, Terry?
I passed my physical inspection. The way I dress is pure perfection. But when I want some real nice pet, here's the answer that I keeps on getting. He says, your feet's too big. I don't want you 'cause your feet's too big. Mad at you 'cause your feet's too big. Hate you 'cause your feet's too big.
What's your problem, Kate?
My self-respect was all demolished when he bought me some cute nail polish. Just what I wanted. Autumn rose, he bought a bottle for my hands and a crate for my toes.
Your feet's too big.
I don't want you 'cause your feet's too big. Mad at you 'cause your feet's too big. Hate you 'cause your feet's too big.
Now, where were we? Ah, yes.
At the Hotel Ritz, at a table for 2. There sat 4 of us, me, your big feet and you. From your ankles up, you sure is sweet. But from your ankles down, you got too much feet. Your feet's too big. Don't want you 'cause your feet's too big. Mad at you 'cause your feet's too big. Hate you 'cause your feet's too big.
Nice and quiet now, boys.
Shoo-ah, shoo-ah-boo, shoo-ah, shoo-ah-boo. Shoo-ah, shoo-ah-boo, shoo-ah, shoo-ah-boo.
She-wa, she-wabble, she-wa, she-wabble. She-wa, 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 she-wabble. Cush foot, cush foot, cush foot, cush foot, platter foot, slew foot, flat foot.
Thanks very much. The next song we'd like to sing you, we dedicate to our ex-manager, who used to greet us with the words, "You three are a right pair, if ever there was one." The song's called Twisted.
My analyst told me that I was right out of my head.
The way he described it, he said I'd be better dead than live.
I didn't listen to his jive. I knew all along that he was all wrong, and he said that he thought
I was crazy, but I'm not, oh no.
oh no.
My analyst told me that I was right out of my head.
He said I'd need treatment, but I'm not that easily led, he said.
I was the type that was most inclined, when out of his sight, to be out of my mind, and he said I was nuts.
No more ifs or ands or buts. As a child, she had crazy ideas.
But I knew what was happening, I knew I was a genius.
She was twisted.
Strange when you know that you're a wizard at 3.
We knew that this was meant to be. Now I heard little children were supposed to sleep tight. That's why I got into the whiskey one night.
My parents went frantic, didn't know what to do, but I had some crazy dreams before I came to know.
Do you think she was crazy?
I may have been only 3.
She-do-li-ba-ba-ba, she-do-li-ba-bow.
I've had every young man. They all have had Edison and also had Einstein.
So why should I feel sorry if they just couldn't understand the idiomatic logic that went on in my head?
I had a brain, it was insane, and all they used to laugh at me when I refused to ride on all those double-decker buses because there was no driver on the top. I mean, even EMI have got drivers on the top of their buses. You've got to be
Twisted.
My analyst told me that I was right out of my head.
But I said, dear doctor, I think that it's you instead, because
I got a thing that's unique, you see,
to prove that you don't have no last laugh on me.
'Cause instead of one head,
I've got 3, and you know 3 heads are better than 2.
Yes, thanks to those great singing stars, Freeman, Hardy and Willis. Well, topping the bill here live at Hayes in Middlesex today is a man who personifies that era of workers' playtime just after the war, when the Kaiser had finally been defeated. Britain was enjoying the delights of the ground nut scheme. There was still food rationing on, and so the black market was flourishing, mainly run by smart aleck wide boys called spivs, who could evidently get you anything from nylons to nuggets, from brassiers to bananas, which wasn't a lot of use to me. One of the great catchphrases of the time, I remember, was, "Psst, want to buy a battleship?" They must have been pretty successful, because we haven't got any left, have we? Anyway, will you welcome one of Britain's music hall greats? Here he is, Arthur English.
Stop the music! Stop the music! Stop! Oh, you stopped it. I've been robbed. Oh, there it is. I've been jumped. Mum, they're laughing at me again. Thank God. How'd you like the whistle? Ain't bad, is it? Borrowed it off my mate Harry. You know Harry? He used to be a meteorological officer. He can look at a girl and tell weather. No, as a matter of fact, he's just got a job as a furniture salesman selling furniture. Because that's what they do, furniture salesmen. Sell furniture. I thought I'd tell you. Anyway, he was so thrilled, lovely. He was so thrilled to get the job as a furniture salesman, he celebrated, took a lady out, did it all wrong, got a French lady, and she couldn't speak a word of English. But how he managed, I'll tell you what he... You're miles in front of me. I'll tell you what he did. He got a sheet of notepaper. On this paper he drew a taxi, showed it to the French lady, she nodded, and they went out for a ride in a taxi. Wasn't it marvellous, eh? And he wanted to take her out to dinner, so he drew a knife and a fork and a plate, showed it to the French lady, she nodded, and they went out to dinner. You were expecting far too much down there. Then the French lady snatched the paper away from Ali and she drew a bed on it. Do you know, even to this day, Ali doesn't know how she knew he was a furniture salesman. It's lovely. Do you like the whistle? Listen, take a picture quickly. That's right. Lovely. A flashing picture. If they come out nice, I'll have a dozen. Do you know? No, that gag was 30 years old. So is this suit. How do you like it? Not bad, is it? The hat's 30 years, the tie's 30 years. Everything's old. The only thing isn't old nowadays is I never mention my boy Anthony. I used to years ago, but he's 35 now. He's twice as big as me. I mention my little girl now, Claire Louise. Because I've got a big family. I've got a daughter of 40, I've got a son of 35, and a daughter of 20 months. Yeah. True, yeah. That's what you call a well-spaced family. Lovely little girl, though, 20 months old. That's what happens when your memory comes back. Anyway, I tell you what. No, it's lovely. It's nice to see people laugh. Don't keep scratching, I'm just swept up. I'll tell you what I like about your lovely factory here. It's so impressive, isn't it? When I walk in the front door there's all them statues. Beautiful. I said, I like your statues. The bloke said, do us a favour, that's the foreman. But, now then this fella came up and spoke to me. He's one of the big shots, ever so nice. He said, hello English, how are you? He said, tell me, what do you think of this factory as a whole? I said, I think it ought to be filled in. Anyway. As soon as I stop telling gags about the factory, I won't get a titter. Never mind. Because we can't even tell you where the factory is. In the wartime you couldn't. They used to say a factory somewhere in England. But all I can tell you is when this man met me, he shook me by the hand, he said, am I glad to see you. What a canteen you got here. I come past the canteen, the singing, shouting, jollity. I said to this governor, I said, listen mate, what's going on in the canteen? All the singing, all the shouting. Oh, he said, big celebration. One of our sausage rolls is 21 today. Well, breather now. Anyway, I came by train today. I don't use a car these days, really. The last time I drove my car, I'm driving down the Frog, and someone's tyre going down. I'm driving down the road. Don't mess up, you'll forget the beginning of this one. I forgot the end. I don't know where the hell I am. I'm driving. I'll finish this joke if it kills me. Leave a space. I'm coming down there any minute. Anyway, I'm driving down the road, and there's a fellow driving in front of me. His car skididdled, and hit up against the lamppost. All the petrol came out of his petrol tank, because that's where he was keeping it at the time. And then his fag dropped out of his mouth, set light to the car, but he wasn't hurt. He was thrown clear. When he came to, there was a copper waiting for him. He said, excuse me, sir, this car what got burnt, was it your one? So he said, yes. He said, have you got an insurance certificate? He said, I have, but it's got burnt in the car. He said, have you got a driving licence? He said, I have, but it's got burnt in the car. So the copper said, oh, because he wasn't a very good conversationalist. He said, tell me, can you identify yourself? Who are you? What's your name? Where do you work? Oh, he said, I beg your pardon. My name is Mr. Lovebreak, and I work at the EMI factory up the Uxbridge Road. Oh, he said, Mr. Lovebreak, I must check up on your credentialitables. So he gets on the phone. He had one in his pocket. He gets rid of the phone. He said, is that the EMI factory? He said, tell me, have you got a love break up there? The bloke said, do us a favour. It took us 10 years to get a tea break, and that was only for 5. I should have finished on that one. Mind you, we can't even do it because it's live. And the audience are live, thank God. That's nice too. No, as a matter of fact, I've not been feeling too good. I had to see my doctor the other day. I went and saw my doctor, and the crowd's waiting to see the doctor. There was one girl came out of the doctor's surgery while I was sitting there. She couldn't have been more than 19, crying her eyes out. I went into the doctor, I said, what's the matter with her? Oh, he said, I've just told her she's expecting a happy event. I said, is she? He said, no, but it's cured her hiccups. And, yes, it was another bloke went into the doctor, he said, excuse me, can you help me? I've got 18 children, can you help me? He didn't need a lot of help, did he? So the doctor said, 18 children, have you tried orange juice? He said, before or after? He said, instead of. And, wasn't it? I was very lucky to see my doctor. He's been away on a busman's holiday. He'd been sleighing in Switzerland. He'd been sleighing. I've never told that one before. I'll never tell it again. Anyway, no, but it was very, very nice to see my doctor. I said, can you give me something for the wind? He gave me a kite. And, no, well, because I know this area, you see, I know all around here. I was here during the war. I was in the army. I fought. I hope there is something leaking and not me get... I'd hate to think I was getting the bird. Anyway, how we go, Tom, all right? And, yes, and I was in the army. I fought. 1 minute ago. Everybody tell me hello. Yeah. No. So my doctor said, forget that one. My doctor said, go into the country for your health. And I went into the country. I got a lovely house in the country overlooking one of them nudist colonies. Disgraceful. And dangerous. I fell out the window 3 times. You know, in this nudist colony, there was an old bloke there, 75 years of age. Got a beard down to his knees. I said, what's the beard for? He said, well, somebody's got to do the shopping. And he's going to tell me for 15 seconds. And there was another fella there, 94 years of age, just got married to a girl of 18. That's like buying a book for somebody else to read. But it's very nice. So my mate Ali was going to be the cook in this nudist colony, be the cook, because they have food occasionally. And he was going to be the cook, but they throwed him out because he would insist on wearing an apron when he fried sausages. And you see, you can't always tell it because it goes about that thick. Well, if you throw it in the other way, well, and they're coming like that, and it's like great big records. There's a hole in the middle. You go like that, and it goes like that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Play the music. Over the cage. Yes.
Yes, and so the great Arthur English brings to an end this week of the BBC's 60th anniversary celebrations, looking back at one of the world's longest-running radio shows, Workers' Playtime. Appearing today on the show, live from a record factory in Hayes in Middlesex with Arthur English, with sweet substitute Colin Crompton and the Ronnie Price Trio. The producer was Richard Wilcox. My name is Ray Moore, and I think it'd be rather nice to end this week of nostalgia with a good old sing-song. So let's all of us, millions of us here, join together with some nice old favourites. We're going to sing Act 3 from Aida, Wagner's Ring Cycle, the chorus of the Hebrew Slaves, and rounding off with the Dead March from Saul.